morning students. Now we are going to discuss about Geography Chapter 2 Physical Features of India. Students, in our last class we discussed about India size and location. Listen to it. Now we are going to discuss about physical features of India. Students, India has almost all physical features of the earth like mountains, plains, deserts, plateaus, islands, etc. Listen to it. India also has vast deserts, large rivers, deltas, and extensive forest land. Am I right? Formation of these features is related to the formation of rocks. Students, what do you mean by rock? Yes, any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the earth's crust is called a rock. Students, rocks can be of different color, size and texture. There are different types of rocks in India. Some rocks are very hard like marble, granite, etc. Some rocks are soft like soap used for making talcum powder. Students, soils are formed out of different types of rocks. Listen to it. That's why these are found in different colors from place to place. The cause of this variation is due to differences in rock formation. Students, there are three major types of rocks. They are igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Students, do you know how are rocks formed? Yes, when the molten magma cools, it becomes solid. Listen to it. Rocks formed in this way are called igneous rocks. Students, sometimes rocks roll down, crack, and hit each other and are broken down into small fragments. Listen to it. These smaller particles are called sediments. Students, these sediments are transported and deposited by wind, water, etc. These loose sediments are compressed and hardened to form layers of rocks. These types of rocks are called sedimentary rocks. Students, igneous and sedimentary rocks can change into metamorphic rocks under great heat and pressure. For example, clay changes into slate and limestone into marble. Students, name three types of rocks. Yes, the three types of rocks are igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Let us discuss about lithospheric plates. Students, what do you mean by lithosphere? Yes, lithosphere is a solid crust or hard top layer of the earth. Listen to it. Yes, the lithosphere is broken into a number of plates known as the lithospheric plates. Students, you will be surprised to know that these plates move around very slowly, just a few millimeters each year. Students, do you know the movements of these plates causes changes on the surface of the earth? Can you tell what do you mean by lithospheric plates? Yes, the lithosphere is broken into a number of plates known as the lithospheric plates. Let us discuss about theory of plate tectonics. Students, many earth scientists have tried to describe the formation of physical features with the help of various theories. One such theory is the theory of plate tectonics. Students, plate tectonics is a scientific theory that describes the large-scale motion of Earth's lithosphere. Students, according to this theory, the Earth's crust is made up of 7 major and some minor lithospheric plates. What do you mean by crust? Yes, the uppermost layer over the Earth's surface is called the crust. You know, it is the thinnest of all the layers. Can you tell what is the theory of plate tectonics? Yes, the theory of plate tectonics states that the Earth's crust has been formed out of 7 major and some minor plates. Students, already we discussed about lithospheric plates, am I right? See, stresses within the plates and the continental rocks above resulted in the movement of the plates. This movement of the plates leads to folding, faulting, and volcanic activity. Moving on to understand types of plate boundaries. Students, the movement of the plates is classified into 3 types. They are convergent boundary, divergent boundary, and transform boundary. Let us discuss about convergent boundary. Students, what do you mean by convergent? Yes, coming closer together. Am I right? Yes. Convergent boundary means when 2 plates move towards each other, they form a convergent boundary. That means it is formed when plates come towards each other. Students, what do you mean by convergent boundary? Yes, when the plates come towards each other, they form convergent boundaries. Moving on to understand divergent boundary. Students, divergent boundary means when 2 plates move away from each other, they form a divergent boundary. These are formed when the plates move away from each other. They form divergent boundary. Students, they are also called faulting movements. What do you mean by divergent boundary? Yes, when 2 plates move away from each other, they form a divergent boundary. Moving on to understand transform boundary. Students, transform boundary means it is formed when plates move horizontally from each other. That means when some plates move past each other, form transform boundary. Students, what do you mean by transform boundary? Yes, when 2 plates move horizontally past each other, they form a transform boundary. Students, do you know what happens when 2 tectonic plates collide with each other? Yes, when 2 plates collide, they may break into small pieces, slide one under the other, or move horizontally. Students, this movement of plates causes earthquakes at the places where the plates meet. That means when 2 plates collide with each other, it can lead to folding, faulting, and volcanic activity. Students, do you know movements of these plates have changed the position and size of the continents over millions of years? Students, what are the 3 types of plate boundaries? Yes, the 3 types of plate boundaries includes convergent, divergent, and transform boundary. Moving on to understand landmass of India. India is a large landmass formed during different geological periods which have influenced its relief. Students, besides geological formations, a number of processes such as weathering, erosion, and deposition have created and modified the relief to its present form. What do you mean by weathering? Yes, weathering is the breaking up of the rocks on the Earth's surface. Students, erosion means it is the wearing away of the landscape by different agents like water, wind, and ice. Do you know the eroded material is carried away or transported by water, wind, etc. and eventually deposited? Students, this process of erosion and deposition create different landforms on the surface of the earth. Moving on to understand Gondwana Land. Students, the oldest landmass was a part of Godwana Land. This land included India, Australia, South Africa, South America, and Antarctica as one single landmass. Listen to it. Students, the convectional current split the crust into a number of pieces. Students, what do you mean by ocean currents? Yes, ocean currents are streams of water flowing constantly on the ocean surface in definite directions. Students, these currents led the drifting of Indo-Australian plate towards the north after being separated from Gondwana Land. The northward drift resulted in the collision of the plate with the much larger Eurasian plate. Students, this collision resulted in accumulation of sedimentary rocks in the geosyncline known as the Tethys. Students, Tethys are folded to form the mountain system of Western Asia and Himalaya. Students, name the oldest part of the Indian landmass. Yes, the Peninsular Plateau is the oldest landmass of India. Isn't it? Students, can you tell which areas comprise the Gondwana Land? Yes, the Gondwana Land comprised of India, Australia, South Africa, South America and Antarctica. Moving on to understand formation of major landforms in Indian landmass. Students, the Himalayan Mountains uplift out of Tethys and subsidence of the northern part of the Peninsular Plateau gave rise to formation of a large basin. See, gradually the north-south flowing rivers deposited their sediments in this depression and the flat land led to the formation of the northern plains of India. Students, the land of India displays great physical variation. The Peninsular Plateau of India is one of the ancient landmasses on the earth's surface. It was supposed to be one of the most stable land blocks. Students, do you know the Peninsular Plateau is composed of igneous and metamorphic rocks with rising hills and wide valleys. On the other hand, the Himalayas and northern plains are one of the most recent landforms. The mountain system of the Himalayas represents a very youthful topography which consists of high peaks, deep valleys and fast flowing rivers. It forms an unstable zone. Students, can you tell what is the composition of the Peninsular Plateau? Yes, it is composed of igneous and metamorphic rocks with gently rising hills and wide valleys. Let us discuss about major physiographic divisions of India. Students, the physical features of India can be grouped under the following physiographic divisions: the Himalayan Mountains, the Northern Plains, the Peninsular Plateau, the Indian Desert, the coastal plains and the islands. At first, we will discuss about the Himalayan Mountains. Students, the Himalayas stretch over the northern borders of India. See, these mountain ranges run in a west-east direction from the Indus to the Brahmaputra. The Himalayas represent the loftiest and one of the most rugged mountains barriers of the world. They consist of 3 parallel ranges in its longitudinal extent. Students, they form an arc covering a distance about 2,400 km. Their width varies from 400 km in Kashmir to 150 km in Arunachal Pradesh. These mountain ranges run in west-east direction from the Indus to the Brahmaputra rivers. Students, the altitudinal variation in Himalayas are greater in the eastern half than those that in the western half. Students, the Himalayas consist of 3 parallel ranges in its longitudinal extent. A number of valleys lie between these ranges. Students, what is the extent of Himalayas? Yes, the Himalayas stretch along the northern borders of India. The Himalayas spread out from Indus to Brahmaputra in a west-east direction. Students, can you tell in which part of Himalayan altitudinal extent is greater? Yes, the eastern half of the Himalayas have greater altitudinal extent than western half. Students, the Himalaya consists of three parallel ranges in its longitudinal extent. The three parallel ranges of the Himalayas are Himadri, Himachal and Shivalik. Let us discuss about Himadri. Students, the northernmost range is known as the Himadri. Students, Himadri is also known as Great Himalayas or Inner Himalayas. Students, it is the most continuous range of the Himalayas with an average height of 6,000 meters. It contains all the prominent Himalayan peaks like Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Maklu, etc. Students, do you know Kanchenjunga is the highest peak of the Himalayas in India with a height of 8,598 meters, whereas the highest peak Mount Everest lies in Nepal. The height of the Mount Everest is 8,848 meters. Students, the core of this part is composed of granite. Yes, the northernmost range is known as the Great or Inner Himalayas or the Himadri. Listen to it. It contains all the prominent Himalayan peaks. It is the most continuous range consisting of the loftiest peaks with an average height of 6,000 meters. Let us discuss about Himachal. Students, the range lying to the south of the Himadri is known as Himachal. Himachal is also known as Lesser Himalayas. Students, this range consists of the famous Valley of Kashmir, the Gangra and Kullu Valley in Himachal Pradesh. Students, this range lies to the south of the Himadri and forms the most rugged mountain system. It is composed of highly compressed rocks with height varying from 3,700 meters to 4,500 meters. Students, the average width of this range of the Himalaya is 50 kilometers. It is composed of ranges like Pir Panjal, Dauladhar and Mahabharat. Students, do you know the Pir Panjal range is the longest and the most important range. They also contain the valleys having well-known hill stations in areas like Kashmir, Kangra, Kullu in Himachal Pradesh, Mussoorie, Nainital and Ranikhet in Uttarakhand, etc. Students, what do you mean by Lesser Himalayas? Yes, Lesser Himalayas or Himachal are the mountain range located south of Himadri. Listen to it. Students, how do Himachal composed of? Yes, it is composed mainly of highly compressed and altered rocks. Students, what is the height and width of Himachal? Yes, Himachal have height between 3,700 meters to 4,500 meters and average width is of 50 kilometers. Students, name the three prominent subranges of the Himalayas. Yes, the subranges are the Pir Panjal, the Dauladhar and the Mahabharat. Moving on to understand Shivalik. Students, Shivalik is the outermost range of the Himalayas with height varying between 900 and 1100 meters. The average width is 10 to 50 kilometers. Students, they are composed of sediments brought down by rivers from the main Himalayan ranges. Students, these valleys are covered with thick gravel and alluvium. The longitudinal valleys lying between the Lesser Himalayas and Shivaliks are known as dunes with names like Dehradun, Kotli Dune and Patli Dune. Students, what is the average height of the Shivaliks? Yes, the average height of the Shivaliks is between 900 meters to 1100 meters. Students, what do you understand by dunes? Yes, dunes are the longitudinal valleys lying between the Lesser Himalayas and Shivalik. Moving on to understand regional division of Himalayas. Students, the Himalayas are also divided on the basis of regions from west to east. This demarcation is done by river valleys. For example, the Indus, Satluj, Tista, Kali, and Dihang rivers. Students, on the basis of regions from west to east, the Himalayas can be divided into Punjab Himalayas, Kuman Himalayas, and Assam Himalayas. Students, in the west, the part of Himalayas lying between Indus and Satluj has been traditionally known as Punjab Himalaya, but it is also known regionally as Kashmir and Himachal Himalaya from west to east respectively. Students, which part of Himalayas has been traditionally known as Punjab Himalaya? Yes, the part of the Himalayas lying between the Indus and Satluj has been traditionally known as Punjab Himalayas. Students, the part of the Himalayas lying between Satluj and Kali rivers is known as Kuman Himalayas. The Kali and Tista rivers demarcate the Nepal Himalayas, and the part lying between Tista and Dihang rivers is known as Assam Himalayas. Students, name the two rivers between which Kuman and Assam Himalayas demarcated. Yes, the Kuman Himalaya is demarcated between the Satluj and the Kali rivers. The Assam Himalaya is demarcated between Tista and Dihang rivers. Students, what are Kuman Himalayas? Yes, the part of the Himalayas lying between the Satluj and Kali rivers is known as Kuman Himalayas. Students, where are Assam Himalayas located? Yes, Assam Himalayas are located between Tista and Dihang rivers. Students, do you know which river marks the easternmost boundary of the Himalayas? Yes, the Brahmaputra river marks the easternmost boundary of the Himalayas. Moving on to understand northern plains of India. Students, this plain is formed by three river systems which the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra along with their tributaries. Students, this plain is formed by alluvial soil. It spreads over an area of 7 lakh square kilometers. Students, these plains are about 2400 kilometers long and between 240 and 320 kilometers broad. Students, mention the extent of northern plains of India. Yes, the northern plains of India spread over an area of 7 lakh square kilometers. It has a length of 2400 kilometers and breadth of 240 to 320 kilometers. Listen to it. Students, northern plains are densely populated due to the fertile soil, adequate water supply, favorable climate, and terrain. Students, the rivers originating from the northern mountains slow down due to the gentle slope, which results in the formation of riverine islands. Students, do you know how are riverine islands formed? Yes, riverine islands are formed by the rivers in their lower course. Students, the rivers are involved in depositional works due to the gentle slope, low velocity, and thus lead to the formation of a riverine island. Students, do you know Majuli is the largest inhabited riverine island in the world and lies in the Brahmaputra river? Students, The river split into a number of channels in the lower courses due to deposition of silt. These channels are called distributories. They are common features of river deltas. Students, what do you mean by distributory? Yes, in the lower course rivers split into number of channels due to the deposition of the silt. Listen to it. These numerous channels known as distributaries. Students, northern plains are divided into three sections. They are Punjab plains, Ganga plains and Brahmaputra plains according to the basis of rocks. Students, now we will discuss about Punjab plain. It is the western part of the plain. It has been formed by the Indus and its many tributaries. Students, do you know the larger part of this plain lies in Pakistan? The Indus and its tributaries, the Jhelum, the Ravi, the Satluj, the Bia and the Chenab originate in the Himalayas. Students, the Punjab plain is also dominated by Doabs. Students, what do you mean by Doab? Yes, it refers to the area between two rivers. Let us discuss about Ganga plain. It is the middle part of the northern plain. It extends from the Gagar river to the Tista river through the states of Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, partly Jharkhand and West Bengal. Students, mention the divisions of northern plains. Northern plains are divided into three sections. They are Punjab plains, Ganga plains and Brahmaputra plains. Moving on to understand Brahmaputra plain. Students, it is the eastern part of the northern plain. See, it extends from Assam to Bangladesh. Moving on to understand the region of northern plain. Students, the northern plains have great variations in the relief. See, according to the variations in relief features, the northern plains can be divided into four regions. They are Babar, Terai, Bangar and Kadar. At first, we will discuss about Babar. Students, after descending from the mountains, the river deposits pebbles in a narrow belt of about 8 to 16 kilometers in width lying parallel to the slopes of the Shivaliks. It is known as Babar Belt. All the river disappear in the Babar Belt. It lies parallel to the slopes of Shivaliks. Let us discuss about Terai. Students, south of Babar Belt, the streams and rivers re-emerge and create a wet, swampy and marshy regions known as Terai. Earlier, it was thickly forested with a lot of wildlife, but now most of the forests have been cleared for agriculture land and to settle migrants from Pakistan after independence. Some forest still remains here. Students, Dwa National Park is located in this region. Moving on to understand Bagar. Students, the largest part of the northern plain consisting of older alluvium and known as Bangar. See, it presents a terrace-like feature and contains calcareous deposits known as kangars. Students, what do you mean by Bangar? Yes, Bangar is the older alluvium soil region lying above the floodplains and presenting a terrace-like feature. It forms the largest part of the northern plains. Let us discuss about Kadar. Students, the lowest region is the floodplain known as Kadar. See, The soil here is renewed whenever there is a flood. So, this area is fertile and best for intensive agriculture. That means the newer younger deposits of floodplains, Kadar is very fertile and ideal for intensive agriculture. Students, do you know what is the northern plain formed of? Yes, the northern plain is formed of alluvial soil. Students, name the major river systems of the northern plains. Yes, the three major river systems are the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. Students, now I am going to revise important terms. What do you mean by Gondwana land? Yes, it is the southern part of the ancient supercontinent Pangaea with Angara land in the northern. Students, name the three parallel ranges of the Himalayas. Yes, Himadri, Himachal, and Shivalik. Himadri means it is the northernmost range of the Himalayas. Listen to it. Himachal means the range lying to the south of the Himadri forms the most rugged mountain system. Students, Shivalik is the outermost range of the Himalayas. Students, Himadri is also known as Great Himalayas or Inner Himalayas. Himachal is also known as Lesser Himalayas. Shivalik is also known as Outer Himalayas. Students, do you know what is the extent of Himalayas? Yes, the Himalayas stretch along the northern borders of India. The Himalayas spread out from Indus to Brahmaputra in a west-east direction. Let us recall the major physical divisions of India. The major physical divisions of India are the Himalayan Mountains, the Northern Plains, the Peninsular Plateau, the Indian Desert, the Coastal Plains, and the Islands. Now, I am going to revise Theory of Plate Tectonics. Students, many earth scientists have tried to describe the formation of physical features with the help of various theories. One such theory is the theory of plate tectonics. Students, plate tectonics is a scientific theory that describes the large-scale motion of Earth's lithosphere. Students, according to this theory, the Earth's crust is made up of 7 major and some minor lithospheric plates. Stresses within the plates and the continental rocks above resulted in the movement of the plates. This movement of the plates leads to folding, faulting, and volcanic activity. The three types of plate boundaries are Convergent Boundary, Divergent Boundary, Transform Boundary. Students, when two plates move towards each other, they form a convergent boundary. When two plates move away from each other, they form a divergent boundary. Students, when two plates move horizontally past each other, they form a transform boundary. Students, do you know movements of these plates have changed the position and size of the continents over millions of years? They have led to the evolution of the present landform features of India. Students, what is the theory of plate tectonics? Yes, the theory of plate tectonics states that the Earth's crust has been formed out of 7 major and some minor plates. The movement of these plates results in folding, faulting, and volcanic activity. Students, what is the implication of plate movements? Yes, the plate movements have changed the size and position of the continents over million years. These movements have also influenced the evolution of present landforms. Students, what do you know about Himalayas? Yes, the Himalayas are geologically young and structural fold mountains. They stretch over northern borders of India. Students, the Himalayas consist of three parallel ranges in its longitudinal extent. They are Punjab Himalayas, Kuman Himalayas, and Assam Himalayas. Students, which part of Himalayas has been traditionally known as Punjab Himalaya? Yes, the part of the Himalayas lying between the Indus and Sutlej has been traditionally known as Punjab Himalaya. Students, what are Kuman Himalayas? Yes, the part of the Himalayas lying between the Sutlej and Kali rivers is known as Kuman Himalayas. Students, do you know where are Assam Himalayas located? Yes, Assam Himalayas are located between Tista and Dihang rivers. Moving on to understand distributaries, Punjab Plain, Ganga Plain and Brahmaputra Plain. Students, what are known as distributaries? Yes, the rivers in their lower course spilt into numerous channels due to the deposition of silt. These channels are known as distributaries. Students, mention the division of northern plains. Yes, they are divided into three sections: Punjab Plains, Ganga Plains and Brahmaputra Plains according to the basis of rocks. Students, what do you know about Punjab Plain? Yes, it is the western part of the plain. Am I right? It has been formed by the Indus and its many tributaries. The larger part of this plain lies in Pakistan. Students, Punjab Plain is also dominated by doabs. Students, what do you mean by doab? Yes, it refers to the area between two rivers. Let us discuss about Ganga Plain. Students, it is the middle part of the plain. See, it extends from the Gagar river to the Tista river through the states of Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal. Next, Brahmaputra Plain. It is the eastern part of the plain. Students, it extends from Assam to Bangladesh. Now I am going to revise regions of Northern Plain. Students, Northern Plain is divided into four regions according to variation in relief features. They are Babar, Terai, Bangar and Kadar. Students, what do you mean by the term Babar? Yes, after descending from the mountains, the river deposits pebbles in a narrow belt of about 8 to 16 kilometers in width is known as Babar. Listen to it. It lies parallel to the slopes of Shivaliks. Students, Terai means it is a wet, swampy and marshy region lying south of Babar. Students, what do you mean by Bangar? Yes, Bangar is the older alluvium soil region lying above the floodplains and presenting a terrace-like feature. See, it forms the largest part of the northern plains. Students, what do you mean by Kadar? Yes, the newer, younger deposits of floodplains, Kadar is very fertile and ideal for intensive agriculture. Students, mention the division of northern plains on the basis of relief features. Yes, the division includes Babar, Terai, Bangar and Kadar. Students, what do you know about northern plains? Yes, the northern plains are almost flat and they extend over a large area. See, they are made up of alluvial soils. Thank you.